Yeah, Vinnie Tortorich, folks, you're getting attention's have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you'll be lean and mean, guaranteed. Just like one Miss Gina Grad. Yeah, that was her laughing in the background, and she's all country. Yeah, she's all country.
Oh, who is that?
Oh, you don't know that song, Gina?
No.
One Mr. Jason Aldean. Now, why
Got
did
it.
that song remind me of you?
I have no idea.
Because you're not a lunatic from Brunswick.
That's right.
You don't have a sexy drawl.
No.
But here's why. I'm just going to plunk it down somewhere else in the song and see if this comes up. Because this is where you would come in, somewhere around here. So let's see.
You just randomly found that?
Yeah, I knew it was in the next verse. So I got lucky.
That's amazing. I am a Kansas princess.
You are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every time I hear that song, it's Jason Aldean. Are you familiar with Jason Aldean at all?
I know who he is. I don't know much of his music. That's so funny.
Yeah, you're a Kansas princess.
Although I have to tell you, my stepson gets into stuff and like a dog with a bone won't let it go for months. Now it's Michael Jackson, but up until last week, it was 90s country music.
Right.
And we both learned to line dance. We learned the boot, scoot, and boogie line dance. And he got really into that song, Fancy Like. Fancy like Applebee's on a date night. He knows the whole song. He doesn't know what dip she likes to dip me like her fries in my Frosty or something like that.
Yeah. It might take a couple of years. One day he's going to wake up when he's 14 and go, oh,
exactly.
Oh, now I get it.
He likes that horrible song that I'm hoping you've never heard of. Andy introduced us to it. It's so funny. Bad Dog, No Biscuit. Back in the pound, back on the chain. My baby left me out in the rain. I scratched at the door. She told me to get. She said, "Bad dog, no biscuit," and we die laughing. So
you know what?
I'm into this.
Gina, for the next 3 shows, we're going to do nothing but country songs at the beginning.
Oh, good.
By the way, he says something right before that line, and it was cutting off right when I got to the Kansas Princess. So I've gone back from where I was before. Let me go back a little further. I love this line. This is Serena's favorite line in the song where he goes, "Got you tripping like a Mississippi hippie."
I like that.
I mean, this guy, the way he pulls these phrases together. Hang on. You ready? Here we go.
Yeah. I know you hate crowds, so you'll never come back for it, but I wouldn't be opposed to going to like Stagecoach or one of those big country music festivals. I think it'd be fun.
Gina, look, I can't do crowds anymore at all. I just can't. I can't do it. Period. I mean, look, I wanted to go see the Stones, and I'm not doing it. I could have flown somewhere to go see the Stones and all this kind of stuff. Just didn't do it.
Well, I got to tell you, as someone who did go see the Stones, I was a very lucky +1 a couple weeks ago at my first time at SoFi Stadium. 81 years old, that man. And I got to tell you, there's still something about him that most of the ladies need him up.
Yeah. And look, I've always said he and the guy from Andy Griffith, Barney Fife.
Don Knotts?
Don Knotts, separated at birth.
Oh my God, what?
Look at Don Knotts and look at him, separated at birth. And I've always said that stardom will make women slide off of their seat, because if Mick Jagger were working at a 7-Eleven and he wasn't Mick Jagger, he couldn't get laid with a stack of 50s taped to his forehead in a whorehouse. It's just a fact.
It's just, it's all perspective. Well, I'm sure your English wife had, I would imagine, quite the crush on him and probably in the same room with him more than once, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I've been in the same room with him once.
Of course.
I met him in Jerry Hall. I'd been in LA for not more than a few months. And just to let you know, I knew no one when I moved to LA. This is me. I knew 0 people when I moved to LA.
Yeah.
And within 6 months, I was invited to the birthday party. There was a place on Sunset right at Doheny called Bar One back in 1991 or 2.
Before my time.
And I was invited to go to Harlan something's birthday party, a director producer. Rennie Harlan, who did famous movies like Cliffhanger.
Oh my God, your fave.
Rennie Harlan's birthday party. When I walked in, the first person I see is Jerry Hall and Mick Jagger. And I was like, am I in a wax museum or am I actually looking at Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall?
Am I sharing the same air in this room
Yeah.
as Mick Jagger?
Will they be breathing the oxygen that I'm expelling right now? Yeah, the
Oh
CO2
my
carbon. I mean,
God.
what's going on?
Incredible.
And then I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Uh-oh.
I met one Mr. Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah.
He was there.
You're the one who got away.
The one that got away. As you know, I'm a bigger Frank Stallone fan.
I know this. He is the lesser Stallone to you, Sylvester.
Yeah, I am a big Frank fan, and I tell people I don't care what your politics are. If you want to be entertained on a daily basis, go to Instagram and follow one Mr. Frank Stallone. The guy is living the life we should all live.
God love him.
He's hanging out with Goombas. He looks like, what's that Italian thing you liked on HBO?
Sopranos?
He's living real life Sopranos one day. He's dressed like a Goomba. The next day he's in all Western wear.
Of course.
Like he's going out on the range.
Of course.
Frank wakes up every morning and becomes a different human being.
Speaking of that, I want to make sure I'm getting the name right because I've still never been. But if you're local here in LA and you want to be entertained by Frank, you might want to hit up Vibratos. Is that right?
Well, Vibratos, he goes there. I've seen him there, both just hanging at the bar and sometimes grabbing the mic.
So great.
I'll tell you who else I've seen at Vibratos. The guy that started Family Guy.
Seth MacFarlane?
That's who will go grab the mic.
That. Yeah.
You know who started Vibratos? And still owns it, I think. Corolla and I were talking about this guy the other day, Herb Alpert, his wife.
And the Tijuana Brass?
Yeah, his wife, that's who owns Vibratos.
I had no idea, but again, not surprised at all.
By the way, if you want to see me get one over on Corolla, we were talking about the song, This Guy's in Love.
Okay.
And he goes, oh yeah, Herb Alpert. And I went, nope, that was Burt Bacharach. He goes, nope, it was Herb. Nope. Yep. He fought me tooth and nail, and they put it up. And who wrote it? Burt Bacharach. Thank you very little. Yes.
It's second only to one time I told him that my ex-boyfriend used to drive me everywhere on his motorcycle on his Honda Goldwing. And Kroll's like, no, honey, sweetie, it's a Gullwing. I was like, no, pretty sure it was the Honda Goldwing. And, I got the there, just quiet down. And they found it. And of course, it was the Honda Goldwing. And he did not want to be told.
I could tell you how he got confused.
Tell me.
Mercedes made a two-seater called the Gullwing.
That's what he said it was. Yeah.
Went up like that.
Oh, like a gull, like a seagull.
Like a seagull. If you have one of those, you can send your kid to any school you want and you can vacation wherever you want because you're sitting on a golden goose. Those things are worth millions. I had a client who had two.
Of course you did.
Two.
Yeah. Well, I can only describe the feeling by knowing something about a 1970s and 80s era motorcycle that he didn't know was maybe once or twice he had me reeling from like a musical theater fact that I got wrong. And this was sweet revenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you, Gina.
Yeah,
you got one on him.
Good
I got
for you.
one on him. Yeah. Don't mess with me when it comes to who wrote a song.
Oh, I know that.
Because I knew one Mr. Burt Bacharach.
Of course you did.
Yeah. That's right. Our daughters.
Did you train him?
Nope.
Oh.
And if I did, I couldn't tell you. But,
oh, that's true. Oh, you said your daughters, did they, let me guess.
The daughter with his probably third or fourth wife.
Okay, let me guess. They have horseback riding lessons together.
I think that's how they originally met or at school.
Yeah.
If people knew the school Tallulah went to and I'd go to Parent Day and just go, who's the most famous person here right now? And you couldn't there was no way you could come up with that answer.
My God. Did you find that to be, I already know the answer to this, but did you find that to be a fertile ground for clients? And my guess is probably not, because you probably weren't going around soliciting.
Never picked up a client from that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
No, never tried to. Um, I wasn't that guy. I think that's
Yeah,
why I
I knew.
did so well. I
Yeah,
laid back and, didn't use my clients to,
yeah.
and people always go, someone wrote to me not long ago, "Hey, you mind getting me in touch with so and so?" I was like,
I don't do that.
yeah, that's not how you stay tight with these people.
That's
Sorry.
right. And that's a big deal in your industry, where you live or die by, nobody's there's no boss. You
Yeah,
either make your money or you don't.
right.
That's quite the self-restraint not to go up to everyone on parent teacher conference night and go, you're looking a little flabby around the middle. I could fix that.
Yeah. A couple of times people from different, like at someone's home at the event or something, they will
Yeah,
go, "Oh, you're so and so's trainer. Do you have
right.
space?" And once or
But
twice,
they're coming to you. You're not
yeah,
fishing.
yeah. I never had a card, not once. I was the only trainer with no card, and they would go, "How do I get in touch?" It's like, and I would literally, and this was an asshole move, but I would go, "If you're serious, you'll find me." Right.
That you're like the hot girl at a bar. If you want my number, you'll
Thought
find
of
it.
Never thought of it that way, but it's like, talk to your friend, she'll give you her number.
That's what I was gonna say, like,
I would go,
if
"Oh,
you're
let
as
me go find some paper, let me get your name," it's like, I would go,
no,
You'll find me," and,
yes,
I'd walk away. That makes you that much more desirable.
uh-huh, and that's also kind of calling them out, like, "Oh, if you're as tight with my client as you say you are, then you can
Mhm.
get my number from them."
Yeah.
That's great. Wow.
And Gina, I
Well,
wasn't that I would say to the client on the next workout, "Oh, by the way,
yeah,
Cheryl,"
so and
you
so
know you know
reached out. You got it all figured out, my friend. And I've been thinking about you because this is something that I've been wanting. Remember was it last week? Or maybe it was the week before, but we were talking so much about hiking. And I wanted to bring this up so bad, but then we ran out of time. So I figured I would just save it for today. There is, how we are so divided as a nation for every reason.
You don't
And of course, no, I do say. And, you know this better than anyone, having a documentary titled Fat, that the word fat is very divisive, and
Mhm.
that some people sort of claim it and own it, and some people, want nothing to do with it, and some people like us just eat it. But this is very much the Bay Area in San Francisco, and you're like, "Okay," kind of roll your eyes, but then I read the article, I was like, "Oh, I get it." And I really, really wanted to bring this to you. There's a club in San Francisco called Fat People Hiking Bay Area. It's an outdoor group that creates this very welcoming space for mostly women, but whoever, to enjoy nature together, get out there, go on hikes. They find a sense of community. They find, safety and acceptance, and they explore all the hiking trails together. And they don't really talk about dieting and stuff. They just enjoy the hike. And it offers all kinds of options, like short little hikes if that's kind of where you're at, accessible routes, really, really long hikes if you're ready. And it's fat people hiking the Bay Area. It's sort of redefining what it means to be a hiker, because how many times have you heard from a client like, yeah, have you seen me? I don't hike, or I wouldn't know where to start. But you get a bunch of people who look like you who all can get out there and hit the trails. And I think that would be a really great thing to do on a Saturday afternoon.
I applaud that group, and I wish there were more look, fat people get discriminated against for no other reason. Well, no one is stopping fat people from hiking. Right?
Right.
No one's going, "Did you see that fat guy on the trail?" No,
No.
no one. What's stopping them is their own beliefs. And I know this because when you get into that state, when you get north of 300 and 400 and so on, you start to think that the world is looking at you and saying, why would that guy go hiking? And in their mind, as I've always said this about morbidly obese people, because this is all I've worked with
Yeah.
my entire career. They're in a prison. They might as well be in a prison cell. And then the thinking becomes, I'm not allowed to go hiking. You're allowed to go to REI like everybody else.
Yeah.
No one's going to judge you. You're going to feel judged because when you walk in, most of the people are going to be, sinewy and lean and, the whole thing. And they look like they're rock climbers and the whole thing. I get it. And it's the same reason they don't like to go to a gym. They think they're going to walk into the gym and, boom,
Yeah,
people are
everyone's
go,
gonna
oh, look at the fat guy. I think most people, at least I want to think this is the way I think.
Yeah.
When I see the fat guy at the gym or the fat guy on the trail, I'm like, you go.
Hell yeah.
You go. I'm going to tell a little story about a fat woman at the gym.
Can't wait.
I saw this fat woman. I was getting ready for to climb Mont Blanc, and I needed to get a lot of time in on a stair machine because I was limited. I was making the first movie and the whole thing, and
Right.
I was trying to get ready for this. It was coming up, and you can't mess around on a glacier. You have to be in shape. You got to be ready to rock and roll. I even weighed my glacier boots, and then I weighed those with the crampons on them, and assumed X amount of snow being stuck on the crampons. And then I would go in the gym in my regular hiking boots, but the ankle weights are still over here. All the weights inside the ankle weights are rusty. I mimicked exactly what the weight of my boots would be.
My God.
And then put a backpack on equivalent to the medium part. And I would go get on the stair machine and just do it because,
Incredible.
right? Well, there was this woman who I saw coming in every day. We were on the same schedule, the same exact schedule. I'm going to estimate she went 4 bills.
Oh, wow.
And she got on that treadmill almost right in front of me. And I'm looking up at the TV monitor, but I'm always looking at her going, how long is she going to stay on? She would come on, she would be on for an hour.
Wow.
And I'm talking, you can wring the sweat out of her shirt when she was done.
Not moseying.
No. And, just heavy. And this was month in and month out. And I waited for her every day. I waited for her. I wanted to see it. Never saw her lose a pound. Not 1 pound, or that I can tell.
Right.
But every day like clockwork, and this went on for months, Gina. And I wanted so badly to go talk to this woman and say, hey, I wrote this book. It's been well accepted. Here's a copy. I did not want her. It's like, she may never come back. If I do something, I know she's fragile. If I do something like that, this woman will never walk into this gym again.
You're so right.
I every day I was like so close to I can touch her. It was like Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall. I can
in the restaurant
and touch them.
But you knew that in that moment, no matter how great you were trying to be, all of her biggest fears would be confirmed. People are watching me. People are judging me. I really am sticking out like a sore thumb. I can't just come in here and do my thing.
I even thought about ways of going, look, it's me. I wrote this book. I see what you're doing. I'd like to help you for free. And I thought maybe there was a 50-50 chance that she would accept it, 50-50 chance that she would never walk into the gym again. So I did nothing.
Wow.
And then I went off and did Mont Blanc, and I stopped going to the gym at that time. I started going at a different time because now I was back into lifting weights again and the whole thing, and my schedule was different. I didn't have to go at the same time every day. I was able to move my clients around, do what I did. Well, maybe a year passed. And every now and then when I was in the gym, I'd look over, but it was the wrong time. She was never there anymore. Maybe she went on to rowing machines. I would look around.
Yeah.
I wanted to see this woman, but she was nowhere to be found. And and let's call it 8 months passed.
Okay.
And I'm in the gym at the right time, and I see her, and I almost can't believe my eyes. The woman had to be 100 pounds down in a
Really?
very short. Now, Gina, when you're 4 bills plus and you're working that hard, if you start eating right, the weight
It'll come.
comes off.
Yeah.
Ozempic, hold my beer. You can lose weight if you're eating right and exercising. It's a magnifying effect. This woman was clearly down 100 pounds.
Wow.
I walked over to the treadmill, and she was walking away, high speed, the whole thing. I said, "Ma'am." She goes, "Hi." I said, "Please don't be offended by what I'm going to say, but about a year ago, I was training for something, and I was always behind you on that stair machine, right behind you." And she goes, "Oh, I recognize you." And I said, "I barely recognized you.
Wow.
What happened? Tell me, do you mind?" And she goes, "Yep, I found something called low carb."
Oh, Jesus.
And she goes, "It works like a charm."
Oh, what is this? Let me write this down.
Yeah, I didn't get into who I was
Yeah.
and, hey, I'm one of the guys that brought that to the internet and the whole thing. I just went, "Keep doing it.
That's
Keep doing
great.
it." We started this, never really knew her name, but we
Yeah.
kind of started the pseudo friendship. Whenever she would
Yeah.
see, and again, months would pass and I would see her again because I was never at the gym at that time.
Right.
I would see her again. Sometimes I was overdoing pull-ups and I saw her and hey, hey, hey. Last time I saw her, now she had the skin. I don't
Mm.
know if she had the money for the surgery or whatever.
Mhm.
The woman lost, she had to lose good portion, maybe 300 pounds, 250 pounds.
God,
She looked amazing. She
that's
got her health
incredible.
back, right?
And you walked that fine line knowing in a perfect world, I could go up and I know I could help this woman, but at what price? And everyone found what they needed to find in their own time, and it all worked out.
Yeah, and who knows? I didn't walk a fine line. I would have walked a fine line had I walked up to her. I could have ruined the whole thing.
Right, right,
By leaving her alone, obviously she was searching and looking. She didn't want to be in the position she was in. And boy,
right.
did she change it. Because she wore she wore the tights, the big black tights.
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
And you can see
yeah,
smaller and smaller and smaller. And she didn't have like the big moo shirt on anymore. It was
right.
tighter shirt. I almost had tear. I tear up over this shit, Gina. I know I'm supposed to be a tough guy and everything. I was I was like, I can't believe you. Look what you
Yeah.
did. She found something called low carb.
And And it just goes back to something that I think about almost on a daily basis, just because it was one of those things one of the many Vinnyisms that I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." And then I'm like, "Oh, shit, he's right." Uh, Abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. And people talk about shaming and the whole thing. I put a video up on my Instagram today of the old Armor hot dog commercials
I
from
saw
the 1970s.
70s, yeah.
I was out for a jog the other morning and I was like, things, I'm kind of like your dad, things pop into my head.
Yep.
Like remember one time in the show I told the story of, Special K, if you can pinch an inch, and you
Oh,
went
yeah, I
berserk.
bet you can't pinch an inch. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that was considered you're too fat if you could pinch
Yep,
an inch. That was
yep.
the 1980s. And I was like, I'm going to play it here. So if people don't hear my thing, this was an actual ad campaign from, I want to say I was a kid, and every kid I knew this commercial. We used to all sing it, and no one thought anything of it. Okay. So let me see if I can find it. Here's me.
1967, it looks like, and 1974, I think, were the 2 big ad campaigns.
Okay, so here it is. You ready? I
Yep.
talk a little bit at the beginning and then I play the ad. So
Okay.
let's give it a listen. Humming the tune to the old Armor hot dog commercials. Then I thought to myself, how many groups and organizations might be upset if those commercials were brand new today? Give it a listen.
Hot dogs, Armour hot dogs. What kind of kids eat Armour hot dogs?
Fat kids, skinny kids, kids who climb on rocks. Tough kids, sissy kids.
Even kids with chicken pox love hot dogs. Armour hot dogs.
Hot dogs, big love, Bill Price.
I can't. Okay.
Wow. So in
kids.
case you missed it, yeah.
Skinny kids,
Mm-hmm.
kids that climb on rocks,
Mm-hmm.
tough kids.
Mm-hmm.
What else, Gina?
Sissy kids.
Sissy kids.
Even kids with chicken pox.
Even kids with who might get post-herpetic neuralgia when they get older because they had chicken pox.
Fat kids, skinny kids, tough kids, sissy kids.
Right.
Wow.
And that was an ad campaign that every kid knew. Now, I get it. You can't say those things anymore.
Nope.
You know, but are we better off?
Well, that's the question, because speaking of my dad, I swear, well, he swears that, when then they still have for sizes for kids, like husky for the boys. He swears in Chicago in the 50s and 60s when, my grandmother was taking him to, whatever, department stores to get clothes. There was for boys husky and for girls chubette.
Really?
He's told me that since I was a kid. I was like, that's not true. Gina, it was husky and chubette.
I played football in college with a guy. And as a matter of fact, I still couldn't tell you his real name. We called him Shady.
Shady.
Yeah. His last name was Black.
Okay.
Everyone called him Shady Black. It turns out he was a black guy on top of that.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, hey man, why do we call you Shady? Wherever I go, there's shade around me. He was a big defensive lineman. Shady Black.
That's funny.
Great football player. We were good friends. We both played on defense together. And I was like, I call you Shady. Look around. Now,
That's so good.
I tell you that to tell you this. When I was a kid, I would go in and I thought I was fat, even though I was a wiry kid.
Yeah.
Because there was a fat guy in our hometown and his nickname was Slim. Now, in my mind, since he was a fat man, and they called him Slim because sometimes they would ironically call you shit.
Yeah, like, hey, Tiny.
Yeah, hey, Tiny, and you're the guy that played Jaws in, the Bond movies.
Right.
Everyone called him Slim, but he was really, really fat. So my mom would walk into the department store. He needs to go. We need to get the Slim.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh geez, because Slim.
No, I know what that means.
Yeah, it means you got some weight on you.
That's
I didn't know I was a kid. I just thought, oh, I must be fat because they're bringing me to the fat kid section.
It's A to B. You saw what they call Slim.
Yeah.
It's funny because there was a guy I met at a barbecue a couple years ago, and I've seen the shirt since. It is very funny. Big guy. I mean, just round, big teddy bear guy. He was wearing this shirt, t-shirt that said on the front, "Hard to kidnap." It's best when you can poke fun at yourself.
Yeah, but there you have it.
Wow.
Gina, this show, I want people to understand that, and this will be the final word here. We're not making fun of being fat. It's a serious issue. People want to talk about, there's a new word we all learned about 4 years ago called pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about a pandemic? Morbidly obese is a pandemic, right? And we're in the middle of it. And you can't wear a mask, and you can't shut schools down, and you can't make people eat outside at restaurants to get rid of it. You have to do it yourself.
Did you just do that off the top of your head?
One Mr. Mike Rowe, I just dropped something there.
Oh yeah, let me grab that.
He said to me, when I was in, I did a Mike Rowe show the other day.
I know you won't stop doing it.
Yeah. Besides his mom, I'm the most repeated guest. And we almost went 2 hours. They're thinking about chopping it into 2 shows.
Between Frank Stallone and Mike Rowe, you have a stable of boyfriends that I wish you would just get
I
together
do.
with.
Yeah. Mike said to me when the mics were cold, Chuck Klausmeyer always goes, I need to keep the mics rolling with you guys when the show is over with, because but you see, we loosen up because we know
Yep.
that the mic is off. So
Yep.
as I told Chuck, you couldn't use half the stuff anyway. But Mike said, by the way, your last documentary, he saw the one that's not out, Dirty Keto.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I got to tell you, man, you know how Mike talks. I got to tell you, man. He goes, your work with the teleprompter, you are good on the teleprompter.
Yeah.
And I said, Mike, there's no teleprompter. I said, as a matter of fact, when I was doing the thing for who's the guy, Dennis Prager,
Mm-hmm.
PragerU,
PragerU,
he
yeah.
made me use a teleprompter. Oh my God, the mistakes I made, the times they had to go back. And I wrote the thing. I couldn't read my own words. I said, Mike, there's no teleprompter. And he goes, but there's no breaks. You're just sitting there talking. I went, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He goes, how do you do that, man? And I was like, I know my subject. I do whole shows without notes.
Yeah.
And when you're telling the truth, you don't need to read it somewhere.
Exactly.
It's
all in your head, literally.
He was literally dumbfounded. I've never seen Mike Rowe floored over something. He's like, he just went on and on and on. He goes, I can't believe you can do that. I know my subject. That's
You
it.
really do, inside and out.
So when I have to say something, Serena calls me the one take wonder. Whenever we do any of the Instagram stuff, it's turn the camera on. All she does is she holds it up and she does this. And when she does that, I start talking. And when I say stay motivated, that's people don't realize I say that to make her stop recording.
Yeah, you're one and done. And like you said, because you are telling the truth and you know what you're talking about. So no notes required.
Gina needs notes, but boy, I tell you, when you read her books, you'll understand that she's doing good work out there. Go get her book, My Extra Mom. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
My Extra Mom.
And because I know you're coming out with My Extra Dad at some point.
Yeah, but boy, are those illustrations taking a while. No shade to my illustrator, but oh boy. Yes, My Extra Dad will eventually come out, but My Extra Mom is out now. You can order that on Amazon, of course, by going to VinnieTortorich.com. Click on that Amazon banner. It'll take you right over there. It's for whole families to help introduce a new step parent into the family in a way that is not going to threaten a soul. My Extra Mom, and on Instagram, my name at Gina Grad, and then of course My Extra Family, the parenting account, and the account inspired by Anna and Vinnie, grain-free comfort food. And so there's plenty of ways to get in touch with me.
So go do everything Gina wants you to do, because it all matters. It really does. With me, you know what to do. Rate and review this podcast. Now, folks, I just said rate and review. Was I stuttering? Was I speaking Swahili? No. Rate and review the podcast. That's how other people find this.
That's right.
It's a crowded market. Look, when we started off, there was like 185,000 podcasts. Last I checked, there's over 5 million.
Yeah.
The way you break through is by you guys. If you like it, it doesn't cost you anything. Just rate and review.
Takes 10 seconds.
Yeah. And, Amazon, blibbity blue. Okay. On behalf of Gina Grad, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living, and let's do it with just a little bit more of one Mr. Jason Aldean.
Woo!